Over 2,000 years ago, ancient Chinese scholars observed the changing patterns in our natural world, the climate, the turning of the seasons, and astronomy. The scholars measured and divided the sun's annual movements into 24 equal parts, creating the 24 solar terms, which were used to govern agriculture in ancient China. Even to this day, this invention still guides the lives and traditions of hundreds of millions of Chinese people. On or around the 7th of November each year, China ushers in the first solar term of winter, Li Dong. At this time of year, the water is icing over and the ground starts freezing. It's the season for harvesting, offering sacrifices and celebrating with banquets and parties. The start of winter, Li Dong, is the 19th solar term of the 24. The Chinese character Li means begin. Li Dong is the day when people in China welcome in the winter season, come what may. Ancient China was a traditional farming society. In spring, summer and autumn, the farmers work hard. In winter, as long as the storeroom is stocked to the brim with grain, the family just has to keep warm and wait for the new year to arrive. At the start of winter in northern China, nothing grows in the forests and fields. Crop fields lie dormant and the ground is left to slowly freeze. But in the fairly warm south, a new sport crops up in early winter: winter swimming. Shaoxing in Zhejiang province is a city moistened by the lake it surrounds. Homes on the shore house the locals. Jin Yongfu's life in retirement is much like that of many older people in China today. Buying food, cooking, picking up the grandkids from school. But aside from all that, the Jin couple have a special hobby in common: winter swimming. They do this every single morning. Old Jin has even turned his hobby into a post-retirement career. He is the vice president of the Shaoxing Winter Swimming Association.
首先一个就是要安全，不能一个人游，必须要集体游。第二点，必须要带上我们的跟屁虫。跟屁虫呢，它是起到安全的作用。还有一个呢，就是在游以前呢，适当的做一下健身的，
先锻炼，
先活动一下，对，冬泳还有一个最主要的一点就是必须要量力而行，
是吧？
每个人跟每个人的身体状况不一样。
Winter swimming is swimming outdoors in water that has not been artificially heated. The air temperature should be below 10 degrees Celsius and the water temperature below 17 degrees Celsius. Li Dong, the first day of winter, is symbolically the first day of the winter swimming season. As a water town, Shaoxing has everything it needs to be a perfect place for winter swimming. This year's National Winter Swimming Championships will be held here. Old Jin is one of the organizers. He leads the daily practice sessions for participants. Practice entails swimming up and down the Jianhu Lake. People say the lake has the best water quality and the best environment for winter swimming.
这个有拍脚啊，拍水。跳的话平一点，不要太平。哇！
觉脑袋已经快冰冻了。刚才在这里，
你们这个团队有多少人呢？
几百人肯定有的。我们在已经绍兴的话，已经可能有个20年有了。
你今年有多大？方便问吗？
我今年67了
，40多岁的状态，我感觉是。
我43岁开始要动用。不有好像觉得一天又不爽。
Although I'm not as crazy about it as Mr. Jin, I do take the occasional dip in Beijing's Hohai Lake in the winter. It's a good exercise for the heart and brain. When stimulated by cold water, your blood vessels expand and contract. After a workout like this, they can take anything. You can feel your circulation and metabolism getting stronger. If you get to swim in the early morning in winter, it will put you in a good mood all day. A bit like drinking a really good cup of coffee. Not only does it give Shaoxing locals a chance to swim in the winter, but it also provides for another favorite winter pastime, deeply connected to local culture. Not far from downtown Shaoxing, there's an ancient part of town built by the water, and in winter, the air here is thick with wine. When winter comes, Shaoxing's special yellow rice wine is brewed.
这个桥呢叫新桥，新人结婚的时候都要过一下这个桥。过了以后呢，这就要喝酒。
因为我听说绍兴的这个酒方面也挺出名的，是吗？
对，绍兴人都会喝酒，
都会，还会走酒。黄酒是用
糯米的先的发酵，发酵以后呢，就立冬前后，开酿。
Some scholars believe that the emergence of wine signified a big change in human civilization. It marked the end of food scarcity and the beginning of human socialization. The history of the yellow wine they make here in Shaoxing is very rich. It can be traced back to 2,500 years ago. The wet, stable environment and the clear water of the Jianhu Lake played their part. It makes sense to begin the winemaking process in winter. The water is particularly clear then. The low temperatures limit the growth of bacteria, so fermentation can go mainly according to plan. And long fermentation at lower temperatures is best for flavor. At the beginning of the winemaking season, winemakers use the lake water flowing past their door, carefully cleaning the various tools used in the brewing process, and cover the pots for their new wine with a layer of antibacterial lime water. Old Jin tells me this town is where Chinese rice wine began. In the Song dynasty, 1,000 years ago, there were more than 500 wineries at one point. 这全是黄酒。
这个坛子
那个是清朝时代的坛子。
哦，看这个坛。
尝一下加块酒。
这个是2002年弄的。
这个是正宗的黄酒了。
香。
你看，有点甜味的。
甜。 For thousands of years, people in Jiangsu and Zhejiang got married, had kids, moved home, celebrated old age, and on every occasion, they came laden with a jug of rice wine. The fuller the jug, the more intense the emotion.
我们做黄酒主要原料是糯米，先要提前一天把糯米浸泡起来，白泡10几个小时。
完了呢，就是蒸。
蒸好了以后，就是用那个用那个水来冷却。绍兴黄酒是用煎糊水，立冬以后开始酿黄酒。
The key to the quality of the rice wine is the yeast. This is the essence of Chinese winemaking. It derived from grain mildew. The microorganisms in it are some kind of mold or fungus. The use of mold is a major invention of the Chinese. Some say it's comparable to the 4 great inventions of ancient China.
这个叫肉豆，肉豆放在里面。放在里面，哎，对这样。
This fragrant sticky rice and water from the lake will change under the influence of this yeast. They will go on a 3-month journey together. And when next spring comes, the newly brewed liquor will be taken out to continue its journey, eventually becoming a full-bodied, amber-colored aged wine. In Shaoxing, there is a special rice wine called Red Daughter. In ancient times, better-off families would make it when a daughter was born. Her father would take homegrown glutinous rice, make 3 jugs of yellow wine, and seal them up before burying them in the yard. When the daughter reached 18 and left home to get married, it would be dug out as a dowry. The wine symbolizes no less than the love of a father for his daughter. With the increasing demand for rice wine at the market, Shaoxing has a lot of factories making wine. Factory production is the main thing, and improved efficiency on the production line has made a big difference to the quality of rice wine. These companies now produce more than 440,000 tons of rice wine a year. Annual sales have reached a whopping 3.45 billion yuan. But no matter how huge the scale of production these days, or how advanced the equipment, the quality of Shaoxing rice wine remains tightly controlled. The temperature at Lidong and the Jianhu water quality still determine the taste. Winemakers in the factories are all inheritors of techniques developed over the centuries. Think about it. If you live next to such a lake surrounded by water in a city that produces tasty drinks, how would you entertain yourself? What Chinese aristocrats came up with 1,000 years ago is pretty romantic. They call it 秋水流觞, a kind of river drinking game. People sit on both sides of the canal, a glass of wine is filled upstream and set to float downstream. Whoever it stops by or overturns next to has to make up a poem on the spot. Or they have to drink if they can't think of anything. Such a party would often end in drunkenness, and what we're left with is a stack of the most beautiful, heartfelt poetry in China. The people here have inherited this romanticism. It might be 2,500 years old, but Shaoxing wine culture is still going strong. The ingredients are pretty ordinary, but the taste is uniquely Shaoxing.
这个就是我们绍兴的那个河里的活蟹，把它用黄酒把它醉的不会动了，不会跳了，咱们可以吃了。这个是我们这的，就是酱鱼干。这个酱鱼干也是通过那个酱油，跟老酒、黄酒跟黄酒。把它泡了以后，晾成干以后，这些其中一块一块一蒸就可以吃了。
After visiting the winter brewing scene of Shaoxing, I find winter swimming and rice wine making have pretty much the same purpose. Winter swimming is for adapting to changes in season, shifting from summer to autumn to winter, in people and in nature. This involves mutual coordination and adaptation. The same is true of winemaking. Starting from the beginning of winter, water and glutinous rice are mixed with yeast. A long coordination and adaptation process take place. In spring of the following year, the pulp of the original ingredients has turned into clear, sweet wine, and the role of Old Jin's captain of the swimming team matches that of the yeast in the wine-making process. Passion and energy come together. The swimmers are put through their paces, carrying out the custom of Lidong winter swimming in Shaoxing. On the 5th day of winter, the annual National Winter Swimming Championships kicks off. From 18 to 69 years old, more than 3,500 contestants from all over China are here to participate in this winter's swimming competition. Old Jin is bringing his team over, and they are looking very sportsmanlike. It's too warm, so in order to reach the required water temperature for racing, staff have put huge blocks of ice into the lanes one after another. Everything's ready, and the race is about to begin. It's not so much a race as a winter swimming summit. The level of excitement is far more intense than if it were just about the competition. In China, there's simply far more water in the south than in the north, so it's easier to raise a swimmer, and it's easier to make a rich wine. Whether swimming or winemaking, Lidong is a special time for both. It is a solar term that requires both hard work and patience to get what you want.